Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we are breaking down a strategic blueprint that, honestly, every business leader needs to see. We're talking about managing and significantly reducing your recurring corporate expenses. We're going to visualize exactly how you can take chaotic purchasing habits and transform them into a streamlined, cost-saving machine. Let's get started. It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Literally in some cases. How can companies smartly manage and reduce their recurring expenses? It is incredibly easy for businesses to just lose track of what they're spending on day-to-day operations when everyone is so focused on the big picture. Okay, let's dive into this, because the strategy we're unpacking today provides a surprisingly straightforward answer. It's summarized perfectly in a simple mantra: buy smarter, save more. Now, it sounds like a catchy slogan, but it's actually a really rigorous methodology. Here is our quick roadmap for today. First, we'll define smart corporate procurement. Second, we'll break down the 4 strategic benefits. Third, we'll walk through the practical implementation steps. And finally, we'll look at the long-term success equation. Section 1. Smart corporate procurement. So this framework basically takes the absolute chaos of corporate buying and structures it into a really organized process. It completely reframes procurement from this stressful, reactive task, scrambling to buy things right as you run out of them, into a proactive, strategic advantage. And the entire system revolves around one highly effective idea: the approved supplier list. Okay, so what exactly do we mean by that? Let's define it clearly. An approved supplier list for recurring items means adopting a highly limited, curated list of suppliers for your repeated purchases. Now, please don't mistake this for just another administrative chore or some bureaucratic hoop to jump through. By limiting your suppliers, you are actually consolidating your buying power. As the definition notes, this deliberate limitation is exactly what grants you better negotiation power, highly competitive pricing, consistent quality, and much easier tracking. You're basically trading a vast, unmanageable sea of vendors for a tight-knit group of strategic partners. To really ground this, let's look at what we mean by recurring items. We're talking about office supplies, cleaning tools, operational and maintenance gear, and packaging materials. Now, individually, a box of packaging doesn't look like much, right? But because these purchases happen constantly across all these different departments, buying randomly from various vendors causes your budget to quietly leak in ways that are almost impossible to track. Moving on to Section 2, the 4 strategic benefits. Before we look at the specific benefits, let's set up a quick contrast to really highlight the value here. On one side, you have unmanaged purchases. This is kind of the default for a lot of growing companies. Different departments just buy what they need when they need it from whoever is closest. The result? Weak bargaining power and wildly variable prices. You're just a small fish to 100 different vendors. But on the other side, you have approved list purchases. By funneling all that scattered spending into a limited list, your order volume with those specific suppliers skyrockets. Suddenly, you aren't a small fish anymore. You have better negotiation power and command competitive pricing because you're offering these suppliers significant, reliable volume. Building directly on that leverage, the data outlines 4 distinct pillars of strategic benefit. First up, cost reduction. Because of your newfound negotiation power and order volume, the actual unit price of your supplies drops. Second, consistent quality. When you vet a reliable supplier and stick with them, you aren't rolling the dice on the quality of your operational materials every single time you place an order. You know exactly what you're going to get. Third, saving time and effort. Just think about the countless hours wasted by staff researching prices or setting up new vendor accounts. An approved list streamlines the entire purchasing procedure into one simple, repeatable action. And fourth, better control. When all your recurring purchases are centralized through just a few approved vendors, tracking your spending and monitoring your inventory becomes exponentially easier. You gain total visibility over your operational run rate. All right, Section 3, practical implementation steps. Let's see how this builds step by step. Step 1, analyze your recurring purchases from the last 6 to 12 months. You've got to look back to look forward. Gather the data to see what you are actually buying on repeat. Step 2, gather potential suppliers for each item category. Cast a really wide net initially. Step 3, evaluate those suppliers. And look closely at the criteria here, because it's not just about price. You most evaluate them on price, quality, their level of commitment, and their customer service. Now, step 4 is where this strategy really locks in. Select 2 to 3 strategic suppliers per item. Notice it doesn't say choose one. Having 2 or 3 gives you a primary partner while maintaining a safety net for supply chain issues, which keeps healthy competition alive. Step 5, sign a framework agreement. Lock in those negotiated prices and terms in writing so there are absolutely no surprises later. And finally, step 6, periodically review performance and update the list as needed. This isn't a set it and forget it kind of task. It's a living system that requires occasional auditing to ensure your suppliers are still delivering top-tier value. And that brings us to section 4, the long-term success equation. This framework distills all of your strategic effort into one undeniable equation. A well-studied supplier list equals more efficient purchases and lower cost in the long run. Honestly, it's elegant in its simplicity. The heavy lifting happens up front, right? The analyzing, evaluating, and negotiating. But once that well-studied list is in place, the daily friction of purchasing disappears, your efficiency spikes, and your long-term operational costs drop dramatically. It is an investment of time today that pays endless dividends tomorrow. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, vital question to ask yourself and your team. Take a hard look at your operations this week. Are your daily recurring corporate purchases strategically managed? Or are they just a chaotic series of unmanaged, costly expenses slowly eating away at your profit margins? The blueprint for taking control is right here. It's time to stop bleeding money on the little things so you can start investing in the big things. Thank you so much for joining me for this deep dive. Keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.